It's America, and we're here to defend it. My name is Dave Hodges. I'm the host of the Common Sense Show. We are the show that is freeing America. Well, we're going to try that again. We had just kind of a slow start here. Bad internet. Anyway, Dave Hodges here. Glad to be with you. We defend America, but we defend God, family, country in that order, and we help the oppressed. And we hope you enjoyed our message about the good work going on to try to help feed the homeless, even though we're trying to criminalize that activity. I wonder what they're going to do when we pass out those cards, though. Hmm. Is that a criminal offense? Well, it might be in Phoenix, might be across the country. But I say this is where civil disobedience comes in and our command to obey the Lord, which is to help the poor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that presentation. In this presentation, I want to talk about two threats that aren't at the top of the pecking order, but there are things that we need to be worried about. The first one is the Chinese threat, and the second one is the Islamic threat. Now, being Chinese is not a threat. Member of the Islamic faith, that's not a threat. It's what you do with it that could violate our laws and put people at risk. And we're going to talk about that. Under our law, we don't discriminate against race or religion. And we're not going to do that here either. But people that are here in our country need to conform to our laws, not to the majority culture, not to the majority religion. You're free to choose. But when you do things that violate our laws, well, this is when government has to step in. And this is already beginning to happen across the country. We're going to tell you about it right here. We are brought to you by the Nanosoma liquid spray. I don't have a display with me right now. It's packed in the suitcase, but I will tell you this. If you go to iwantmyhealthback.com/Dave Hodges, you'll see the spray, the gel, and the cream. And the spray boosts your immune system to unbelievable levels. I'm getting rave reports. In fact, being at here at the Watchman Conference, I'm getting a lot of questions about this. And people are also giving me a lot of testimonials. Pretty cool. It boosts your immune system, lets that do the work. Secondly, the gel. Well, when you start working out hard again, well, the joint inflammation and all that arthritic pain comes back. Well, this mitigates that by producing pluripotent stem cells. We have over 30 peer-reviewed studies on these products. And then, of course, the skin cream treats cuts and burns together. They're the starter pack, 15% off. Go to iwantmyhealthback.com/Dave Hodges. Don't know when the medicine chest is going to run dry because of the supply chain issues that could grow a lot worse if this war expands. So iwantmyhealthback.com/Dave Hodges. That's your insurance policy. Let's talk about the Chinese. We had Casey Fleming on, former advisor to the Pentagon. Casey, very knowledgeable. He claims there are over 200,000 Chinese, what we might refer to as commandos, that are inside of our country. Now, they come here as single male units. No kids, no wives, no women, no moms, no sisters. And we've shown you the videos here. They set down their packs by their right foot. They stand at parade at rest with their hands clasped behind their back. And they're very respectful to the Border Patrol. In fact, they even give them papers. Excuse me, where did the term undocumented come from? Immigrants that don't have papers legitimizing their presence in the country. They gave them papers. How the heck do Chinese troops get papers to be in our country? Good question. And they've invaded our universities. We had the agri-terror deal, the attempt to poison our crops. This is mainstream media news, not controversial. They start Chinese national groups inside our country, and every Chinese foreign exchange student signs an oath of allegiance to the CCP when they're here in America. So they're technically operating as Chinese agents on American soil. Do you think that's a good idea? I think that's a very bad idea. And we should not be allowing, since China is our main national competitor, we should not be allowing their students to come into our country. Plain and simple. get a visa, visit, go home. If they were our friends, they wouldn't be spying on us. If they were our friends, they wouldn't have secret police stations on our soil. If they were our friends, they wouldn't have involved the agri-terror situation. If they were our friends, they wouldn't be holding clandestine meetings with Chinese students that are here to gather intel to send back to China. If they were our friends, we wouldn't have 200,000 commandos in our country. And by the way, Casey's not the only one that said this. I've had Border Patrol people on by the droves who say this. I say it's a national security threat. What say you? Now, second group I wanted to mention, and I don't think it's the top of the threat list, but I think it's an issue. We're seeing Islamic communities forming. No alarm there, nothing wrong with that. But inside some of these communities, not all, but some, we have extreme Sharia law being enacted. In other words, they don't follow fair housing guidelines in selling real estate. You give enough money to the local religious institution, then you get a decent home. They don't advertise. If you, as a non-member of that community, try to go buy a property, they'll tell you it's not for sale. It's a discriminatory housing practice that's illegal under our laws. And this goes back to the Jim Crow days. Oh, yeah, this house was available yesterday, Mr. Person of dark colored skin or brown colored skin, but it's not available to you today. Total discrimination. So we developed things like the Fair Housing Act to defend people. And we should have those laws. We should not allow this discrimination, but it's happening in reverse. The other thing is, too, is there are reports, particularly in some of these confined communities in Texas, where Greg Abbott's looking into it and Ted Cruz has complained about it, in that some people are in the communities and they're not allowed to leave. They are like indentured servants. They work what they're told to work at, they do what they're told to do, and that's the end of it. No freedom of mobility, no freedom of expression. There's a point where you can cross a line and you get into this is imprisonment. Now, is it a concern? Yes. Do some people who are Islamic have a long-term plan to take over the United States? Well, they profess that, so I take them seriously. Do the Chinese have a plan? Yes, they do. This goes back to Wei Fang and classified leaked documents sent to me and many, many other people back in 2017. Wei Fang, the National Security Advisor to the CCP, and in a document that he talked about, he said, we need to take over America because we can't supply our own industrial materials we need for expansion. And we're not going to have Americans there. We're not going to cohabitate, meaning they want to do away with us entirely. They said the only question is what they do with the 14 million Chinese that are already in the country. Are they too Americanized to fit into a new Chinese society? That's the only question. I take that as a direct threat, but Wei Fang didn't say anything that the three previous people in his same position said. And today we're still seeing that philosophy bandied about in closed Chinese circles. Xi Jinping might act like he's friendly to Trump, but he's not friendly to you. He's not friendly to America, and they are indeed a threat. The good news for us is the Chinese can't project military power globally yet. They'd be a tough fight in the South China Sea, but they can't extend their military because they don't have the logistics. That's good news for now. That's why I don't list them as a major threat, but infiltration is their game. And the same thing is happening in many of the Islamic communities. And we're seeing many of these people take traditional positions away from mainstream Democratic candidates with more extremist Sharia acquainted and loyal candidates like El Sayed in Michigan. Mondami. Mondami has said before he ran, he hated Jews. Al Sayed has got a history of interaction problems socially involving police. These are two people I don't think need representing us. And then we have Ilhan Omar. Where did that 30 million come from that she got? Where's Nick Shirley when you need him? Nick, we need to investigate this. Two threats. Is it a dire threat to take over the United States? Not yet. Can it be contained? If you ask me the question, can it stop terror? Can we stop the terrorism that could emanate from this? The answer is no. Are they going to take over the government as a whole? The answer is no, not in the foreseeable future. They said, well, Dave, this reminds me of the Reichstag, and the Nazis gained power gradually and slowly and surely. They don't have the numbers to support it. Plain and simple. Should we allow Chinese to buy up farmland near military bases? Only a stupid nation would permit it. Yet the Arizona governor, Katie Hobbs, vetoed legislation, bipartisan legislation, that would have prevented this. It reminds me of the old saying, we have met the enemy, and he is us. Amen to that. We need to keep a watch on these communities that are merging, make sure they're following American law, make sure they're not holding people against their will, make sure they're not threatening national security. But the biggest threat to national security comes somewhere else. And we're going to cover that next on the Common Sense Show. I'm Dave Hodges. Thanks for joining us. God bless you. We'll see you back here next time.